God doesn't give you what you want. God gives you what you need. When you got the support of God and you walking on your faith, it's like walking on an invisible bridge, bro. You may not be able to see it, but you know it's there. And that's how much faith you got to have that it's going to work out for you. If you keep yourself in that mindset, mentality, you're going to get your shot one way or another, for sure.
Welcome to...
You're listening to the Wrestling Takeover.
What is your name?
With your host, Jordan Turner, who's always going to keep it real.
Come on, King.
Inside and outside the ring.
Let me make myself clear. He's got the fans behind him, King.
It's time to take over, King.
Are you ready? He's all fired up now, King. The Takeover.
Let's go.
Peace and blessings to each and every one of you guys, man. How's everybody doing? And welcome back to the Wrestling Takeover podcast on this Tuesday. We got Survivor Series preview predictions. We're going to get into that. We are also going to be talking about a news report that I seen earlier talking about Triple H in the creative department. Saraya, a.k.a. Paige, she gave her, opinions on that. We're actually going to start with that report, and then we're going to trickle on into the Survivor Series preview and predictions. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Wrestling Takeover podcast. This is the most creative and honest wrestling podcast in this space. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know the vibes, man. Talking all things WWE 24/7, 365 days a year, man. Listen, my excitement so far when it comes to what we've been seeing on WWE TV has been a little shaky. You know what I mean? It's been a little shaky. I feel there are things that WWE can do better with. There are things that I have been enjoying on this road to Survivor Series, but I'm going to talk about War Games separately in its own kind of topic. And then I'm going to get into, obviously, the preview and predictions of Survivor Series. But before we get into those two separate topics, we got to get into Saraya, man. So Saraya, and I feel Saraya, a.k.a. Paige, is going to be somebody who I do see returning in the Women's Royal Rumble. And I do think she's going to be a part of it. I do believe she will be returning to the WWE when it's all said and done, potentially at Royal Rumble. So it should be interesting. I think she can add a lot of things to the women's division in terms of roster depth. So I'm very curious to see when she's going to eventually come back, because we all know she will be making her way back to the WWE. But Saraya feels Triple H gets the brunt of criticism when WWE creative isn't well received. Notes that there are others who work on the shows along with Triple H. Before I read this response that Saraya gave, this was on Poker Scout. I believe this is a podcast, so shout out to the people at Poker Scout. Maybe this is a website, whatever. But shout out to them. I'm going to give my opinions about, my thoughts on Triple H, my thoughts on the creative department, the creative team, and just what we've been seeing on WWE TV over this past year. And then I will be, reading what she said, and we'll move on from there. As y'all know, I'm always honest with my opinions on the WWE product. Y'all want the real talk? You come to the Wrestling Takeover podcast. You want someone who is going to just be honest, be raw and authentic? You tap into the Wrestling Takeover podcast. I don't work for WWE. Would love to, but all my opinions, all my perspectives are based on what I see on television, right? And what I read in the news and this and that. I feel that the WWE so far this year, this is just my personal opinion. Now, I know there will be people who do agree with me. I feel this has been one of the worst years in the era of Triple H Paul Levesque as head of creative. I think this has been one of the worst years from a creative standpoint. People got to understand something as well, too. And here is where I'm going to kind of defend Triple H. You got Netflix. You got USA Network. They want some stuff, too. They want things to specifically be on television. USA Network might want something. Triple H might not want to do it, but he has to do it because the USA Network wants it for Friday Night SmackDown. We go to Netflix. Netflix, they're going to have a say-so because of how much money they are paying for the WWE product. So they're immediately going to want things on television that typically we would not see on television because Triple H is either waiting for it and he might not just want to do it at all, but he has to do it because of Netflix and how much they're paying for, Monday Night Raw. So from that perspective, I do feel for Triple H there. But there was one I remember vividly. There was either a news report or I believe Triple H said this himself. There's sometimes that he's not even at the shows. And I believe it was something with Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky. I do remember this. It was a match between Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky. And they were on Monday Night Raw and they were going to have, a one-on-one match. Coming to find out, Triple H didn't even know about it. I think that's cap. There's no way that Triple H did not know about that, especially if he's head of creative. Just because he's not there, everything needs to run through him because he's head of creative. So every writer or producer needs to run ideas through Triple H, and Triple H gives the go-ahead, right? And just because he's not there, that doesn't mean anything. So I remember when I heard that, I'm like, what? Like, just because you're not there, things still have to go, to you because you're head of creative. So I found that very interesting to me, that he didn't even know what was going on Monday Night Raw in general, like the whole show. And I found that very odd. But yes, there are things that is under Triple H's control. I think that's definitely one of them in terms of Netflix and the USA Network wanting specific things to be on Friday Night SmackDown and to be on Monday Night Raw that Triple H might not want to put on the show. He might want to save these things, but he can't do it because Netflix is paying all this type of money, to the WWE for Monday Night Raw, so they might want specific things on their program. Same with the USA Network. So I'll give Triple H a pass, so to speak, when it comes to that. But everything else, I really do think that this has been one of the worst years, creatively. And this is coming from a fan who's very passionate about the WWE. I talk all things WWE here. I talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I talk about all of it. And I want to always remain, respectful, but also give a honest perspective of, the WWE product. And I feel from what I've been seeing, SmackDown is not exciting at all. There's not a lot of things, and it's so funny that I do remember this vividly too. That I seen a report saying that, people in WWE backstage are fully aware that Friday Night SmackDown is not exciting, that it's not must-see, that it's not appointment television. They're fully aware of that. Here's the other thing, though, too. Just because y'all aware of that, y'all have the power. Y'all have the ability to change that narrative and to create a narrative full of positivity for Friday Night SmackDown. Because, quite frankly, Friday Night SmackDown, let's be real, Friday Night SmackDown is the worst wrestling show during the week. It is not must-see TV. It is not appointment television. And the simple fact of the matter is WWE puts a lot of effort and attention to Monday Night Raw. And quite frankly, they have to because it's Netflix. And they're paying all this bolts of money for the WWE product. And they're making Monday Night Raw. They're making Monday Night Raw the flagship show. So since they're making Monday Night Raw the flagship show, they need to put all their ducks in a row for Monday Night Raw. But then you look at SmackDown. You look at SmackDown and it's like, why are you not putting in the same effort that you do with Monday Night Raw that you're not doing with Friday Night SmackDown? So I think that's very interesting. Yes, Triple H gets a lot of the brunt of criticism. But here's the thing, man. The criticism, it is justified. The criticism is it's not that the criticism is very subjective and people are, picking and choosing on when to complain about the WWE product. People like myself who, are very educated and very, in tuned to what happens on WWE TV, we keep up with it. You know what I mean? Even if I wasn't doing a podcast or I wasn't a content creator / writer or anything like that, and all I had was social media, I still would be reacting the way that I am currently right now if I didn't have all of this stuff. WWE, they know the fan base is going to be there. They know the diehards going to be there. We're always going to be there. But they're not immune to criticism, specifically constructive criticism. People who are fans of their sports teams like myself, we're all very critical of our sports teams. Music, TV shows, movies, video games, whatever. You have a passionate fan base, but just fan base in general, who want to see that specific art thrive. And when it does, it's great. We will praise you. But when things are not going well, we are going to be critical. We are going to give, our constructive criticism. So I get that Saraya is trying to defend, the criticism of Triple H. And she needs to understand that he is head of creative. He is the WWE version of Dana White of the UFC. When there's a problem, people complain to Dana White. When there's a positive vibes, people compliment Dana White. It's the same thing with the WWE product. TKO specifically appointed Triple H to be their version of UFC with Dana White and put Triple H in the helm to be that version for the WWE. So Triple H is going to get the brunt of that. Yes, from time to time, I understand it can be frustrating. I get that. I understand that. Triple H, he's a human being just like each and every one of us. But he is in charge. He is writing this TV shows, on a weekly basis. So he's not immune to criticism. The problem is, I don't think people like when fans give constructive criticism. Why are you nitpicking every single aspect? Well, we're fans. Number one, we could do so. We have every right to do so. Number two, we want to see the product thrive. We know it can be better. We know it could be better. And that's the problem. WWE, if they really want to just be gangster with it and just week after week for Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and really show people in the wrestling world that we're number one. And we're going to show you why we're number one each and every week. Each and every Premier Live event. We're going to show you that. You know what I mean? And they have the ability to. Here's the catch. They don't want to do that from time to time. Please, let's keep it real. They pick and choose on when they want to really show people yeah, we like that. We're the number one best, pro wrestling company in the world. We'll show you. And they do. You get me? They do. But then there's moments where it's like, yo, WWE, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, y'all could be better. Y'all just being lazy as fuck. And that's the funny thing. WWE knows that they could be lazy because fans are still going to be there. But then, you know, they're aware that they're going to get criticism for that. You get me? But when it's popping and WWE's on fire, you feel me? They know they're going to get that praise as well, too. So it's just a matter of picking and choosing. That's all it is. But, yeah, Triple H is the helm of it. So Triple H, the responsibility, I know he's fully aware of it, but I know he's been kind of bashing the wrestling fans that, and this is what is just confusing about it. This is what's confusing about it, man. You know, I put pro wrestling in a bubble where I put these sports teams, these athletes, whatever. They're in this bubble. And they complain about the fan base every single time they get. Oh, you're not a football player. Oh, you're not a basketball player. You're not a soccer player. You're not this. You're not that. You're not a pro wrestler. You're not a writer. You're not a cameraman. You're not anything like that. So y'all don't know what the working in and out of the business. Y'all don't know what it is. Y'all don't know what's going on about it. Where do y'all have a right to comment on it? First of all, we're a paying customer, so we can comment on anything we want to. Now, it's our job to keep it respectful and to keep it peaceful. That's why I'm here. I love to keep it peaceful, keep it respectful, but also, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all, man. Because if I don't do that, I'm not doing my job as a fan base and as a paying customer. You get me? And as a content creator, as a podcaster, as a writer. I'm not doing myself a disservice, right? I'm not doing y'all right if I'm not honest about the WWE product. These sports teams and bashing its fan base, that it's just crazy, you know. And I put WWE in that bubble as well too. But yeah, so that's my piece on this whole situation. But let's read what Saraya says, and then we're gonna move on and talk about Survivor Series. Saraya feels Triple H gets the brunt of criticism when WWE creative isn't well received. Notes that there are others who work on the shows. Saraya. Respectfully, majority of the fan base don't know who these other people are. All they see is Triple H. All they see is Paul Levesque. Nick Khan is not booking the show. He's a businessman. He's on business. He is not on creative. So when it comes to creative, Triple H is the man. He gets praise. He gets negative. It comes through the territory. We're looking at Triple H. Triple H has had a creative. We don't know these other people, right? Or a vast majority of people, of wrestling fans, WWE fans, they don't know these other people. All they see is Triple H at the helm. So when there's a problem, they're going to go to Triple H. Well, you're head of creative. Why is this happening? You're not making sense of this. It's just, it is what it is. But this is what she said. I'm sure everyone has an opinion, and like, yes, everybody has an opinion. And people cannot deter and change people's opinions when it's their opinion and they feel strongly about it. They can't change it. You know what I mean? They can help people's opinions in terms of understanding where they're coming from, and maybe the person that disagrees can look at it and be like, I get what you're saying, but this is still my opinion. You know what I mean? So she says, happy, and there's going to be people that really are happy with the way it's going. I think he's doing a great job. I feel there's not much I can say because it's not just him. There's a room full of writers that are on the road and at home, and there are so many people that are writing this show. So if something's not great, a lot of people go on the attack with Hunter, and people don't realize it's not just him. He's just trying to put on the best show that he possibly can. Again, we don't know these other people. So from our perspective, all we know is Triple H is in charge. Triple H is writing the shows. Knowing that, obviously, there is writers. Now, I will say, after WWE Unreal, We do know who's quote unquote in the writing room. We know who's there. Paul Heyman, Ryan Ward, Bobby Roode. There's a couple of other people. You know what I mean? Michael P.S. Hayes. So we know there's some of them. Now, I frankly I knew all of them were in there, but a vast majority of people did not know that until they seen WWE Unreal and until they seen all those people there, in the writer's room. So let me continue. Let me get through this. She says, so if something's not great, a lot of people go on attack with Hunter and people don't realize it's not just him. He's just trying to write on the best possible show that he can. He's the one who gets all the brunt of it. And I just reiterated and explained why that happens. And people just don't realize that there's more people in the let me repeat that. He's the one who gets the brunt of it. And people just don't realize there's more people in just one person running the show. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right. We got to get into Survivor Series because I got a lot that I want to talk about. We're going to first talk about Triple H. Speaking of Triple H, he talks about War Games and gives his opinion on it. He says, quote, the thing about it, War Games this year is, I think you see it in the WrestleMania commercials. The field is wide open between a Brock Lesnar, between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Seth is on the shelf right now, but he factors into that so many others do. And then there's not even counting the new generations of Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and the young guys that are up and coming. Oh, yeah? Like Carmelo Hayes. Push him in 2026. Triple H. Continuing on. When people talk about the business now, they talk about where our talent are at. Yeah, the top players are all the top positions and they're a bit older, but the thick of things is at the depth of what is underneath them is what I'm most excited about because the field is deep. This business is going to be in good shape for a long time. Now, close that point. He's not wrong. The business is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be exciting. There are going to be just generational young superstars, young thoroughbreds coming into the WWE and wanting to take the helm over, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, all those individuals who are eventually going to be retiring or just leaving the WWE in general. These young guys are going to want to take the mantle. I'm going to kind of iterate my same feelings that I personally, as a fan, have with today's WWE culture. And Triple H might not admit this. There might be people listening to this who disagree. The fact of the matter is, Triple H, and you know how he just only mentioned a Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. It's because Triple H picked Braun Breaker and he handpicked Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. He handpicked these guys. These are the guys that Triple H is going to build the company around for future generations. So if you're new to the podcast, hello, I am Jordan Turner, and this is the Wrestling Takeover Podcast. This is the most creative and honest podcast in the space. All right? We always take deep dives and deep analytical conversations about the state of the WWE every Tuesday night right here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio content. I have been on this narrative, I would say, in perspective for the longest time. This isn't just out of nowhere. This is just out of thin air. You get me? I've been talking about this for many years, that WWE is now or never. You need to really build new stars because you have them. You have them there. I get it. You pick and choose on who you want to push and who you don't want to push. I understand that. That's cool. But there's a lot of players that the WWE, quite frankly, are not utilizing. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that WWE can really push for the future. Javon Evans. I heard a rumor that WWE loves Javon Evans. That's great. But it's not just him. It's not just Braun Breaker. It's not just Bronson Reed. Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory. You get me? Santos Escobar, Dominic Mysterio, Montez Ford, a Pentagon, Phoenix. You know what I mean? Like, there's I don't know if I said his name already, but Dominic Mysterio. Ilino Dragunov, Gunther. There is a lot of players that WWE can really utilize. Obafemi, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Ricky Saints. You feel me? There is a lot of people that WWE can really just utilize and really create new stars. They got them on the main roster. They got them on NXT. Utilize them. Push them to, superstardom. You need a new Cody Rhodes. You need a new Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar and John Cena, even though nobody would be John Cena. Randy Orton. I feel like none of them are going to be any of those names, but what I'm trying to say is you need a future of generations to when these men eventually leave, you have your replacements right there in the palm of your hand. Because you're doing it with the women. I see it with the women, and that's great. So I ain't even tripping really about the women. It's the men that I'm tripping about. You get me? I'm tripping more about the men than the women. The women are Gucci. You get me? They got like a gang of them. They got a gang of women. A lot of women, I'm sorry. They got a lot of women that WWE is pushing and trying to, push to the masses that, these women are going to be the future. But for the men, it's like they're picking and choosing. It's nuts. It's crazy. And we need to get more men, on the bigger stage, especially men of color. You know what I mean? Latino stars and African American stars. We need new generations. You know what I mean? And I think WWE has an opportunity to really do something great with that. Let's see what he does with it. But I want to talk about War Games. I want to talk about the War Games concept because I'm at my wit's end. I'm going to be very thorough. I'm going to be very respectful, but very delicate. And quite frankly, I'm going to be fucking real with what I'm about to say regarding War Games and its concept. Triple H. Whew. Let's get into it. You have treated War Games just like Vince McMahon treated WWE Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell, for many years, was not important. It had no value. It had no value. Matches are inside Hell in a Cell that don't need to be a part of Hell in a Cell. They're only a part of Hell in a Cell because it's October. We got to put people inside Hell in a Cell. Even though it doesn't make sense, we still got to put them in there. We got to put the women in there. It only makes sense because if the men are in it, the women need to be a part of it as well. And this is where I'm really going to, I might piss some people off, but I'm specifically talking about this year alone. The women really, their feuds, quote unquote, really don't deserve to be in War Games. They don't. They were just thrown together. Like real talk, like respectfully. This War Games with the women were just thrown together. That's here and there or there. But what I'm trying to say is they've done that also with Hell in a Cell. That they just create feuds for the women just to be thrown inside Hell in a Cell because, well, if the men are in there, the women got to be a part of that as well too. I'm not okay with that. I ain't cool with that. That's not smart. That's not smart. You only need to bring Hell in a Cell back if it calls for it. If the right feud and story calls for these ladies and men to be in Hell in a Cell, then it makes sense. But Vince McMahon has completely devalued Hell in a Cell. Triple H, you are now doing that with War Games. War Games does not feel special whatsoever. It is just, oh, it's Survivor Series, so we got to do War Games. Nah, nigga, like, you don't need to just do War Games. Feuds upon feuds upon feuds during the year, and it bleeds into November, and it bleeds into Survivor Series. You did it with the men. You did it with the men starting at WrestleMania. You did it with the men. So I ain't tripping. The women, you did not do that with. Respectfully. You did not do that with. You suddenly did it because, oh shit, the women got to be inside War Games. What I'm saying is, you cannot just, the men have it, women got to have it too. No. The right situation needs to call upon. And then if it makes sense, do it. If it doesn't make sense, save it for another time. You don't need to force it. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Respectfully. Okay? So I feel the War Games concept is dead for me. Personally, WWE, I think it's time. You're not going to do it, Triple H. I already know you're not going to do it. It is what it is. I might just be talking out of my ass. It is what it is. You need to really consider going back to traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series. You got to think about going back to that. Like, real talk. You got to think about going, to Survivor Series to traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series. You got to go back to it because I feel like right now War Games is not exciting. War Games does not have that feel. War Games is really missing. It's really missing that excitement. Like if I'm really gonna keep it P. If I'm gonna really keep it 100 with y'all, I'm not that really enthused with War Games this year, outside of potential storylines here and there that I can see potentially, play out. And that's why, from a creative perspective, I mean, I'm just very good at what I do, man. I love coming up with storylines within, these War Games matches on where things can potentially go, where things can potentially brew, and talk about it. But as an overall Survivor Series concept, I think it's ran its course. And me personally, I would really consider wanting to see a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series traditional match come back and really make its return. And you need to really save War Games for when it calls for it. I'm talking about if the men don't make sense for it, don't do it. If the women don't make sense for it, don't do it. If the men do make sense, do it. But the women don't make sense, don't do the women's War Games match. I just think you need to bring back prestige to the War Games concept. But here's the thing. They're not going to do that. So me talking out of my ass right now is all for nothing, but it's all good. Because I want to give my opinion out there to the masses. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. I think the War Games concept honestly has ran its course. And that's my piece on it. But I'm curious to know how y'all feeling about the War Games concept. Has it ran its course? Are you guys over it? Let me know how y'all feeling about it. It is now time to talk about WWE Survivor Series. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So this is the official updated card as of today for WWE Survivor Series 2025. We got the men's War Games match. We got the women's War Games match. We got Stephanie Vaquera versus Nikki Bella for the women's world title. And then we got John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. I am going to be coming up with the best, possible match card lineup. I have been doing this for many years, and I'm going to really continue it to be a tradition where I look at the card and I kind of book myself on what matches make sense to start, in the middle, and then finish. So we're going to do that here with WWE Survivor Series. So for me personally, where would I kick off Survivor Series? I would start with the Women's War Games match. I would start with the Women's War Games. The second match I would do is Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. The third match would be John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. That would be the co-main event. And then the main event will be the Men's War Games. So, now y'all heard that, my opinion on the lineup and what I would do with it. Let's get into the full card. Let's get into it. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, my opinions on it. I am very interested in to see how everything is honestly going to transpire in both of these War Games matches. I'm very curious to see what the WWE is going to do. Now, we all know who's a part of the War Games matches for the men and the women. I'm not going over the individuals. We already know who's a part of it. I ain't going to waste y'all time with that. Let's get into the Women's War Games match first. So let's get into that. I think there is plenty of story here with this match. Now, the main story, the number one story I feel going into this Survivor Series match for the Women's War Games is AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch explained herself why she wants to be a part of War Games. She just wants to beat the fuck out of AJ Lee. All right. Simple. They got history. It makes sense. So, them two being a part of it, which we all knew they were going to be a part of it, makes all the sense in the world. We got Io Sky and we got Rhea Ripley. We got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, I believe they are not. Let me correct myself now. They are not the women's tag team champions. It is Asuka and Kairi Sane. So, I believe them two are going to want to get revenge on Kairi Sane and Asuka. So they got something brewing there. So those four ladies are cancel each other out. AJ Lee and Becky Lynch obviously cancel each other out. And then you got Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, and then Lash Legend and Nia Jax. They're going to cancel each other out as well too. So I think this match is more on AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. Now I am very curious who's going to turn on who, who's going to accidentally cost who. I'm curious to see how that's going to happen. Now, the winner of this, it needs to be the babyfaces. Now, does Becky Lynch eat the pinfall here? Because we have not gotten an AJ Lee and Becky Lynch one-on-one match. Now, for me, if I had the pin, I'm booking AJ Lee and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That's just me. For the Women's Intercontinental Championship. That is just me. Okay? But who's going to eat the pin here? Lash Legend too soon. She can't eat the pin. Asuka, Kairi Sane, Women's Tag Team Champs, they can't eat the pin. Maybe Nia Jax eats the pin. Maybe Nia eats the pin. And if the babyfaces lose this match, Io was not getting pinned. Rhea Ripley, yeah, right, forget about it. AJ Lee, not happening. Alexa Bliss maybe eats the pin. Charlotte Flair is not eating this pinfall. So it'll be either Alexa Bliss on the babyface team or Nia Jax on the heel team who eats the pinfall. My prediction, though, I am going with the babyfaces. I'm going with Io, Rhea Ripley, AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss to beat the heel team in Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. And I think Asuka and Kairi Sane are going to be feuding with Lash Legend, Nia Jax, and Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the women's tag team titles. I said it once, I'll say it again. Do not be surprised if we get Rhea Ripley and Io Sky a part of the tag team division and them going out to the tag team titles. Do not be surprised. But this match is built around Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. So I'm very fascinated to see how AJ Lee does in the women's War Games match. I think she'll do fine. I'm very curious to see how that's going to transpire. A match that a lot of people personally have a problem with for some reason. I don't know why they have a problem with this match. And I'm talking about Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vaquer. I don't understand why why people have a problem with this. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this match was going to happen. I knew Nikki Bella was going to turn heel. Not to stroke my own ego or nothing like that. I don't care about that. But we all knew it was going to happen. Right? Why people have a problem with it? People are freaking out. Why is this match on the card? Motherfucker. They got to flesh out the card. Like, y'all, and these are the same people that say they're educated and fully aware of what's going on. Clearly, y'all don't understand. They got to flesh out the card. They can't just have 3 matches on the card, bro. People are already complaining about 4 matches on the card, and why there's not enough, matches on the card. You gonna have 3, nigga? People gonna be bitching and complaining about it. So like, people complaining about Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella being on the card. Like, y'all gotta pump your brakes, bro. Y'all gotta relax. I think that's serious, bro. It's not that serious. Now, will the feud continue? Who knows? Is Nikki Bella gonna cheat to win? Possibly. I got to bring every variable to the table, because if I don't, I'm not doing my job. So Nikki Bella could definitely win by cheating here. Now, is she? No. Is Nikki Bella going to win this match? No. I'd be surprised if she does. And if she does, WWE is going to piss a lot of people off. And I don't think WWE is going to do Stephanie Vaquer like that, and they're going to do her dirty like that with her reign. Not going to happen. Nikki Bella's going to lose. Her story is very simple. She's going to do everything. She's going to do everything she can to win that women's championship. Even if she loses, she's going to still try to come up with a way, a scenario, a solution to want to get a rematch. So we all know this might happen. Who knows? But we'll see. Is there a slimmer chance that Nikki Bella does win the championship? Of course. But will she? No. But I'm very curious to see how the match is going to go. Very curious. John Cena, Dominic Mysterio, 1v1. I do see Dominic Mysterio getting back the championship. Gunther will be John Cena's final opponent. I am just wondering, though, is it going to be for the Intercontinental title? Or is Dominic Mysterio going to take the title back? If Dominic Mysterio takes the championship back, he needs to feud with Finn Balor over the Intercontinental title. We should have been getting that feud. We ain't getting it yet. Cool. Let's get it now. Maybe at WrestleMania, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Intercontinental title match. At WrestleMania. It's a perfect little undercard match if you ask me. That's a perfect match if you ask me. But is there a chance that John Cena retains here? Of course. Of course. You know what I mean? Maybe we get Finn Balor, trying to help Dominic Mysterio, and it gets switched out, and Finn Balor is the reason that Dom lost. Cena retains, faces Gunther in his last match, retirement match. Gunther wins the Intercontinental title. We might get it like that, even though in my opinion, I feel Gunther does not need the Intercontinental title. He don't need that shit. And by the way, speaking of Gunther, I am so happy his OG NXT UK NXT theme is back, bro. I'm happy. But I do not think Dominic Mysterio is winning this match. I am actually going with John Cena. I think John Cena is going to win this match, and that is my official prediction. Now, for the main event, for the men's War Games. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The baby faces are winning this match. They are not losing. This is Avengers at the babyface side. Now, here's the thing. We've seen on Monday Night Raw that Roman Reigns is looking at CM Punk, looking at Cody Rhodes, and like letting them know, like, yo, I'm coming after those titles. One of them, I'm coming after those titles. Now, here's the thing. On the heel side, who gets pinned here? I think it's Logan Paul, personally. I think Logan Paul eats the pinfall. Who pins, Logan Paul? I don't know. I don't care. All I know is the baby faces are winning this match. We got the Usos. We got CM Punk. We got Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. There's no way they lose this match. You can have fucking 3, 4, 5 Lesnar's on this motherfucker. The baby faces ain't losing. Now, I am real curious, though. They did it last year where they're kind of built towards WrestleMania with some of these matches. Are we going to potentially get something like that with this year's match at War Games? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how things play out. I know there's going to be storylines and new feuds coming out of War Games. It's time for WWE to really bunker down. And I feel WWE is going to be on this autopilot. I don't give a fuck type of shit because the holiday season, and I understand that. That's cool. But WWE, you got to end the year off strong. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to do so. I got the baby faces. So I have Team Roman winning. I have Dominic Mysterio, or I have I have Dominic Mysterio losing to John Cena. I have John Cena retaining. I have Stephanie Valkyrie retaining her title. And then I have Team Rhea winning War Games. So those are my official predictions for War Games. Let me know what you guys think about it. Also, comment down below your thoughts on my thoughts about what Saraya, a.k.a. Paige, had to say in relation to, Triple H and the creative and War Games, etc. Yeah, guys, I'm just not as enthused with War Games. I'm going to tune in, of course. I'm going to be reviewing the show. And hopefully we see some returns, maybe. Some crazy War Games. Let's get some blood. Let's get some color. Triple H. It's a fucking War Games match. We need some fucking color. We need some type of color, man. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. Even if we don't get color, I think the match is still going to be great. Still going to be fun. But we really need to have that conversation about War Games moving forward. And I think a break is honestly needed for War Games and its concept. But let me know how y'all feeling about it. I appreciate y'all tapping in, tuning in. This is the Wrestling Takeover Podcast, the most creative and honest podcast in the wrestling space. I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all. And listen, Thanksgiving's on Thursday. Hopefully you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Peace and blessings each and every one of y'all. And listen, I will see you guys on Saturday. I will not be putting something up on Thursday, of course. I might actually drop something tomorrow. So stay tuned to that. If I do, great. If not, then I'll just see you guys on Saturday for WWE Survivor Series official review. So I appreciate y'all joining me, man. And I'll see y'all next time.